Broadcasting live on StarWorldWideNetworks.com. It's time for The Real Deal. Join the ambassador and special guest hosts as they put together great guests and honest commentary on a range of issues. But one of their main topics will be preserving Native American tributes in sports team nicknames. Also avid fans of music and the arts, and they'll always make time for a great song or two. Now, it's time for The Real Deal. Here's your host, the Ambassador.
Welcome to The Real Deal, ladies and gentlemen, at the famous Star Worldwide Networks in the Camelback Towers in beautiful downtown Scottsdale, Arizona. I have some Navajos in the show on the show with me tonight, and gentlemen, we are definitely off the reservation, aren't we?
Good evening.
Oh. And with me tonight is my beautiful producer, Wendy West. Say hi, Wendy.
Hello there. I didn't know if it was me or Kyle, so I was like, okay, pointing at him. Is it me?
And the son of the infamous Dave Pratt, Kyle Pratt.
How's it going, Ambassador?
Ambassador's all in. Also, my co-host Maggie is going to be saying something in Chinese in a minute. I hope everybody's having a good week. And all our guests out there all over the world. Last night, I went to an event at the Westin Kierland Resort. The event was held in the Scotch Library. I didn't even know they had a Scotch Library. They got. You ever been out there at the Westin?
Actually, yes, I have.
They have a Scotch Library, and this is where the event was.
Is that where all they like a full wall of?
Yeah, and they said they had a full wall of Scotch under locked glass. And they said this Scotch is worth $1 million.
I'm a wino. I'd prefer wine anyways.
Well, anyway, it was a Scotch deal, and the guy that put it on is a friend of mine, Tony Famino, and he's the world-famous radio talk show host. He's the voice to America, and he is coming on our show.
Yay.
Yeah, he's coming on in a couple weeks. Loves it. And it was a show, he talked about, what's going on with terrorism, what's going on in America, internationally. The guy's really good. And what was really neat is he used to work for KTAR, Kyle. And I can remember, and this is a pure coincidence, on 9/11, 15 years ago, when 9/11 hit, Jane and I were at the house, and we were watching all this horrific stuff on TV, but I had to go to Gallup, New Mexico, where my plant is. So we loaded up in a car, and we took off up towards Payson and on over to Gallup. But we were listening to KTAR, what was going on. And he was running the show. It was him, Tony Famino. And then I lost track of him because I listen to KTR, but I listen to Sirius Radio, and I listen to a lot of different stuff.
I listen to Star Worldwide Networks.
Yeah, I do too. I like to listen to my show every day. No, just kidding.
Hey, I like your show. What are you talking about?
Puts me to sleep. No. And so anyway, so a couple weeks ago, it was the 15th anniversary to 9/11. Yes. And I happened to be going to Gallup, and I think it was on a Sunday. And I was by myself, and so I'm headed up the road going towards Payson, and so I don't have Sirius Radio on my company car, so I'm listening to regular AM, FM. So I turn on the 620, 93.7, that's the KTR channel, and there he is. He's on there. And he's talking about talking about the anniversary of 9/11 15 years ago. And he's sitting there talking, and he says, I don't know if he was in New York or where he was, but he said, 15 years ago, he said, I was working at KTAR in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was talking about the event as it happened. And I'm thinking, yeah, I remember that, because Jane and I were going to Gallup, and we heard it all. And then so this is like 15 years later, and I'm going up the road to Gallup again by myself because I lost my wife. And here he is talking about it. And he says, I'm holding an event at the Scotch Library at the Westin Kierland Resort September 20th. And he said, if you want to come, get a hold of me. So I'm going up the road, and he says, call this phone number. So I'm trying to get the phone number in my phone here while I'm driving. And so I called it, and I said, I want to go. I said, I heard him 15 years ago, and I know the guy. So I went over there last night. And there was, I don't know, 75 people there, and it was very informal. People sitting around drinking this scotch, and these guys are wearing kilts, and they're talking about scotch and how you drink scotch. And, well, you ought to know, Taylor.
I do.
You're sitting here drinking scotch. That's my girl.
I'm from Napa, and all I drink is scotch.
Yeah, Taylor Gold, ladies and gentlemen. She's one of our guests, and she's my good friend, and she's drinking scotch. But anyway, they're saying this is how you hold it up to your mouth, and you don't hold it up here, and you don't shake it around, and it's all right to put ice in it. And I'm sitting there and saying, yeah, okay. So then he got on this thing about Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And so I let him have it. I gave him both barrels, boy. So he knew where I was at. And so he's going around asking people. He says, I want to ask you in 2 words, Trump. And this guy'd say, hair. Clinton. And he'd say, established politician or something. And then he'd go to the next guy. And go to the next lady. So then he gets down to me. And he goes, Trump. And I said, businessman. Okay. Hillary Clinton. I said, a bribed politician. No, I said bribed established politician. He said, that's more than 2 words. I said, well, you can put that in caps.
You could just put it in as a run-on sentence. That'll count. And you're so right.
And so anyway, I didn't know any of these people. I had no clue who they were. And the event lasted for about an hour and a half, and then he would talk. He did his radio show from there, and so he'd talk a little while, and then he'd go to a break, and these guys with the kilts would come out and say, now this scotch right here is this one, and they'd have a glass about like this, half a glass, and he said, try that, and I'd try that and eat some cheese, and then said, try this one. And I said, okay, there's nobody sitting next to me.
They're trying to get you drunk.
I guess. So anyway, after it was over, so then they took a vote, and I was shocked. There was about 60-40 for Clinton versus Trump, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, what? And this lady next to me, she says, well, I don't like Trump because he's a racist. And I looked at her and I thought, are you kidding me? And so I just really, and the more I drank, the pissed off I got. And so then after it was over, these people, I guess they were Trump supporters, they come over and he says, man, you gave a hell of a talk, because he was interviewing me and stuff. And I just told him, I says, hey, I'm rolling the dice with Trump. And I says, let me tell you why. I said, the established politicians have sold us out. When they get to Washington, D.C., I don't give a damn if they're Republicans, Democrats, Independents, they're bought off by special interests, and they don't give a damn about us. So I'm rolling the dice with a businessman. I'm going to take the chances. You know, I may be wrong, but I'm going to give it a shot. Can't be any worse than it is now. And it's like Trump says, what do you got to lose, right? So that's the way I see it. But anyway, it was fun. And so on to other things. I don't know if you guys listened, but remember last week I talked about Dave the Garden Guy using my product?
Yeah.
Well, I got up Saturday morning, turned on Channel 3, and he's on Channel 3 at 8:50 in the morning. They do the Dave the Garden Guy segment. So I got up there and turned it on, and sure enough, there he was promoting my Humate. So it's Dave the Garden Guy. Go to Channel 3 Sunday mornings. He has a talk show. You've heard of him, haven't you?
Oh, your Humate, though, it's really quite a technology to be applied to agriculture. I mean, it's impressive.
Right, and so he's on there promoting it, and he's talking about where you can buy it at Summer Winds Nurseries. And so that was a really cool thing. And now I want to thank the Smart Community Exchange and the City of Orlando and the World Trade Center of Orlando. They brought us back there about 6 weeks ago, Maggie and I, and we did our show at the Hyatt Hotel from Orlando, and that was really cool. And we pulled it off, didn't we, Kyle?
Yeah, no, it turned out good. I mean, there was no really technical issues.
No. I mean, there was a lot of techies in the room, a lot of these guys from all over the world.
Yeah, we made sure before we went on. It was awesome.
And they were saying, well, you got to, we do it by Skype.
Yeah.
So we had my computer there, and we had this high-tech microphone.
It sounded good.
Yeah. And it was good. For our first run out of the gate, it was good. And I want to thank our sponsor, Graves Propane, with offices in northern Arizona. They're a family-owned business, John and Susan Graves. You know who they are, Daryl.
Oh, yeah.
And please buy your propane from them. They support Native Americans. And Humate International, my company, HUMATE.com, for all your organic needs for gardening, and it is high-tech. And Taylor will tell you about that. Our sponsor, Swisher Air Conditioning, they're donating a unit, an air conditioning unit. The people you met this morning, they're donating a unit every month to a low-income Native American family. It's about a $10,000 deal anywhere in Arizona. So if you have somebody out there, please get a hold of us at The Real Deal.
So important.
And please consider being a sponsor on our show. We really need sponsors. I want to thank the listeners all over the country, Native Americans and all Americans. I also want to thank our listeners at Channel 3, Dave the Garden Guy, Jamie Soretta, and the American Indian Center of the Great Plains in Kansas City, Missouri. Johnny Leonard is my partner. We're principals there. He's Cheyenne Arapaho, and he's listening tonight. And now I want to introduce you to my Peter McDonald. He's going to say a few things in Navajo, and he is the former chairman of the Navajo Nation, and he's also the current president of the Navajo Code Talkers. Peter, if you would.
Yate shas toy sezane setelke shije kent neshike no kliniki o shidi Peter McDonald dashne aska zahon slobet ani bashin ado tsakane dashnale ashi dashche todich ini eba esetta shada halya kododi anini eba hanne no kodoy ambassador Dennis Yellowhorse niji yaltijo yolwol akota nini be a edeba hanne the real deal ol yo jo koe hashine lan ne says yes yadal tlahoda ba ohlaho belahadal no die do kot eda ebni na hada kisigi kodo the real deal no ya halnegi da nini jo edeba honne Ako ikena aslagi sto banda yolni to banda notra Graves Company will yov la shibe da no Sunday da jo kodo kwishi without di ikena asla kodo kwichi na long kodo ni yati.
Thank you, Peter. Daryl, did he pass the test?
He set the bar way up there. Hey, out the Haitian Adi Antona Nestas, so Daryl edition.
Yep. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to my business partner, Mark Burr. He's with Jay Stryker. I'm an associate there with them, and they're one of the 4 market makers in New York. They're like a Goldman Sachs, except they're family owned, and they've been in business for over 100 years. And when they do business in Indian country, Mark and I get involved. Mark is a retired Marine, and he speaks 7 different languages, and one of them is Spanish. And a lot of our listeners, Taylor, are Native Americans who don't speak their own language. Their language is gone, but their language of choice is Spanish. So he's going to say something to them in Spanish. Mark, if you would, please.
Claro que sí, don Dennis. Nuevamente, bienvenidos a nuestra audiencia de hispanoparlantes y a todos nuestros patrocinadores, Graves Propane de Flagstaff y Humate Internacional de Gallup, Nuevo México, y a todos los radio oyentes a través de la nación y del Real Deal y nuestro anfitrión, el embajador.
Very good. Thank you, Mark. Now, we have a very interesting person here in the studio with us. She's here from Hong Kong. She is an accomplished fashion and jewelry designer, and she's been on our show. She's my co-host and my friend, and she's going to say something, and she has a lot of people listening in Asia to our show, in Taiwan and Hong Kong and China. And let me tell you how they're listening is they're actually flying over here to meet me. So, Maggie, if you would, say something in your language to our listeners in your part of the world.
Thanks, Chief. 其实这个节目是说美国的印第安人的历史文化。Western Post 访问所有美国印第安人，他们都喜欢 Western Redskin Kinesiting Chief 这个名字。但是有的花园要改变这个名字。这里是沃尔玛先生为了保护这个名字，他本人做出了好大的贡献和支持。我们也去期待每一位的参与和支持。这里是沃尔玛先生还有出售有机土壤叫优美，如果有需要打我美国电话6025151073。Thanks so much, Chief, for having me on Real Deal. That's such my honor.
Thank you, Maggie. That's great. You're doing really good.
And she's beautiful.
And she is beautiful.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, Star Worldwide Networks, ladies and gentlemen, is the fastest, largest growing internet radio station in the country.
Good evening, everybody.
200 shows.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
200 shows, 6 million listeners. Kyle, tell them all who's number one.
The Real Deal.
That's right. Yep. And that's because of you folks. And I always thank all the fans because they put it out on their social media. And I'm talking about the fans that are Native Americans, non-Native Americans, but the fans of the teams that honor Native Americans, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Washington Redskins, the Golden State Warriors, Atlanta Braves, Cleveland Indians, Chicago Blackhawks, for listening and honoring Native Americans by using these names. I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, to me, this is social and cultural genocide to Native Americans. This is what was done in Germany to the Jewish people. Exactly. Burn the books, get rid of the race. In 100 years, Native Americans will just be Americans. And I really believe that, Taylor.
No, it's completely true. Yep. Completely true.
Yep, and you know it. That's your tribe. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break, and we're going to play a song, and then we're going to introduce my first guest, Taylor Gold. Please.
Machine so we can groove on out. I know I swing a little break, but we can jump and shout. You're not too far back off the highway, not too long to ride. You park your car in the open, you can walk inside. A little cutie takes your hat and you can thank a man. Every time you make a scene, you find a joint to jam. Oh, girl, don't let us steal your heart away. While I'm gone, I'll learn to dance if it takes me all night and day. All right, let's go. The boys are playing. Hold tight, stay right, don't let it get away. Don't let the heat overcome you when the place so loud. Don't let the music intrigue you when you get a crowd. Yes, and I know you can't dance, you would if you could. I got my eyes on you, baby, 'cause you dance so good. come on down there. Oh, yeah. Oh, can you boogie woogie? Oh, yeah. Now if you wanna hear some music like the boys are playing, stay right up tight, don't let it fly away. Don't let the heat overcome you when the play's so loud. Don't let the music intrigue you when you get a crowd. And I know you can't dance, you would if you could. I got my eyes on you, baby, 'cause you dance so good.
Okay, we're back from the rock and roll world. Now I want to introduce you to my first guest, very good friend. Taylor Gold is a philanthropist, venture capitalist, and has formed a fund with her longtime family friends, the Regals. Her partner, Michael Regal, is the chairman of the BVI Financial Services and founding partner of AC Harney's, and you correct me if I'm wrong, three founding principals. Oldest, largest legal practice in the BVI. What is BVI?
The British Virgin Islands.
Got it. Okay. That's what I thought. With offices in Bermuda, Cayman, London, Shanghai, Singapore, and Vancouver. Their hope is to utilize return on investment principles rather than ROI. This is social return on investment. This is something totally different, and it really makes sense to me.
It's what you do.
That's right. It's what I do, and I think that's why we connected, and we become very good friends over the years. So I'm going to turn it over to her. Ladies and gentlemen, Taylor Gold, thank you for coming on The Real Deal.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. And, I don't know if everyone knows that about you, but you and I have met several different ways over the years, but I really had a wonderful dinner with you recently, and
right.
where we really got in depth about Humate.
Mm-hmm.
And for any of you that are unfamiliar with Humate, it's an incredible, for me, it's incredible when you can apply technologies to non-performing assets. Right now, the hot topic would be oil fields, right? Where we can now frack and drill differently. Coal mines are a dying, thank God, they're a dying breed. And you've just done an incredible job by employing over 500 Native Americans. Right. To come up with a fertilizer that is so incredible, and it has so many different applications. And you ship to Dole.
Right. Dole is the largest grower in the world, and they're my biggest customer.
For any of you who haven't seen the website, really, it's very informative.
Yeah, HUMATE.com.
It is very informative. And, here is a man, he's leased out abandoned coal mines and found gold. Right. No, we can far more valuable than coal at this point, and he's turned it into something that rather than pollutes the world, it actually grows crops in ways that are ecologically friendly and work better.
Right.
And work better.
Yeah, I could take and this is no kidding, and I'll prove it to you beyond a reasonable doubt. I can take a $50 ton of coal, and I can run it through my process, and I can convert it to activated carbon. Activated carbon is used by the city of Phoenix, Scottsdale, Kansas City. All the big cities use it to filter the water in that city, to take all the contaminants out of the water so you can drink it. Okay, that stuff goes for $2 a pound, and I can do it. And so you take a $50 a ton coal and convert it to $2 a pound activated carbon. That's $4,000 a ton. Hello, and I can do this, and I proved it with our national laboratory at Los Alamos, and I've done the demonstrations. And the president of the Navajo Nation, Ben Shelley, was there. I didn't just talk about it. I built a demo and did it. And you can find that out at First American Energy, and that's one of my other companies. But I want to save the coal mining industry in this country. I really do. And burning,
but not by burning it.
Yeah, and not burning it.
That's a waste of money, and I'm Jewish, and we don't like to waste money.
That's right. And burning coal is a waste of money. It just goes up in smoke. You know, and
we're in the midst of a carbon revolution.
Right, and I can put the carbon footprint back in the soil because I can take what's left over. I can take this coal that I reprocessed, rematerialized, and I can make it into a fertilizer. Because one thing it does do is it holds moisture. It holds moisture. It sucks moisture up like a sponge.
It's incredible. I mean, the applications for coal, I mean, they are honestly, and I'm gonna coin a phrase, and later on, I hope that we're lucky enough to have my dear friend Harry Clore, the only man as of today to simultaneously achieve 2 PhDs in very difficult fields, and he serves as the technology officer for Harry Diamantis. I'm sorry. For Peter Diamantis, Harry serves as his chief technology officer, and I mean the amount of groups that they're involved in is really, I mean, it's X Prize University, it's the X Prize, it's Singularity University, it just goes on, and the amount of universities that they're involved with, and the lives that they've touched, and it's really special. But you know, I am really proud of you because that's very forward thinking. And I know you started, how many years ago did you start Humates?
Almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
18, 20
So for you to see the potential, right?
Yeah.
And the waste of the lack of the utilization of carbon
right
out of coal is crazy. And I have another very dear friend right now that works on a similar application, but it's not as simple as yours. But these are the kind of companies, right, that my partners, the Regals, and I are so actively, aggressively attacking.
Right.
And we look for companies that are not, these are not startups, right? I mean, they're
vetted.
Yeah. I mean, look, you know what? Sometimes they're controversial. They're controversial because there's a lot of money in coal mining. There's a lot of money in the petroleum industry. There's a lot of money, you know, in oil and natural gas. And there are a lot of people that don't want to see things change. Right?
That's right. That's what's going on in Washington right now.
But you know what? We're there as a fund to get them through it. And I really, truly believe that through philanthropic venture capital and when you get together smart, forward thinkers, and I'm talking about billionaires, BVI billionaires. You could name a list of guys that have homes in BVI, and these would have been their trust attorneys. And those of us who we sit in a small group, we're not turned off by things that may be a little risque. We kind of all feel that if you're running into enemies, you're going the right direction.
That's right.
Right?
Well, yeah, that's the way I look at it. You know, when they quit talking about me, I'm in trouble.
Exactly. Just make sure they spell my name right.
That's right. Well, Daryl, tell us what, you know, the Navajo Nation, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the largest private owners of coal in the United States. And so I want you to tell our listeners what Navajo coal and the jobs that are generated by the coal mines and the power plants mean to the Navajo people?
Well, good evening again. Once again, Dennis, the coal industry is very important to the Navajo Nation because it provides a tremendous amount of revenues. Those revenues are used to assist and to provide direct service to the Navajo people. On the Navajo reservation, we have 60% unemployment.
Wow.
So, yes, and then the workers, that if you're a coal worker and get on with Peabody, you're making at least $70,000 a year. That's enough to really support and take care of your family.
That's a big deal.
However, we do need to look forward, looking at the technologies. We would like to keep our power plants open. The reason why is that you can bring in what you call gasification. You can capture some of these byproducts, like the carbon emission. You can reduce that. Because of the coal, it burns longer at a longer diversion and produces that heat for a long time. What happens is that's where you get the power comes from. That's why the coal is so important in Navajo country. So you can capture diesel fuel, jet fuel, and that gooey product is rubber product. You see, that's the way we need to head. And then it has a less impact on the environment. And then the nation benefits from it. Not only the Navajo Nation, but throughout the United States and the world. And that's why it's so important to us. This is where we need to get our head together and start bringing forward these incredible technologies and knowledge so that we can make this happen.
That's right. Well, I tell everybody, Taylor, on my shows that Native Americans are the largest private owners next to the federal government of coal, of oil, of natural gas, of uranium, of copper, iron ore, and the new gold is water that the Native Americans own. And there's these liberals are trying to take it away from them.
Well, let's stop there because, touche, you just said they're the largest owners of the coal, right?
Right.
The most expensive thing that they're going to own then is carbon.
Well, that's exactly because you
carbon.
talked about going towards fracking, and a lot of people really don't understand what really takes place. And that carbon, there's a pipeline that runs in southern Colorado that goes right into Texas.
Right.
So that's a huge market that we're looking at as well.
Exactly.
But then also, it's just not only the Navajos, but we have the Crow Nation up in Montana.
Right.
That also has a huge coal mine. So what we need to do is we want to get those two tribes together and then have and establish a good coal market in the world. And everybody, people went through renewable energy over in Europe, Germany. They're experiencing blackouts. But you know what? They're looking back at coal. They're looking back at coal so that they can continue to produce that energy that the people needs. And unfortunately, we're not like the way it was in the olden days where we can just light a good old campfire and be satisfied with that. Now we have to have our fans going. We have to have the bright lights, especially the ladies. They stand in front of the mirrors for hours because they want to get that face correct. So we need to take care of our sister over here.
Do you do that, Taylor?
Why do you think she looks so beautiful?
I try to get dressed in the dark, and I always wear black, so I don't have to try to worry about my wardrobe.
Maggie, do you stand in front of the mirror?
Yeah.
Do you stand in front of the mirror?
Yeah, anybody here is beautiful and handsome.
That's my future wife, everyone.
No,
it's
what you're saying is right on, and I'm not supposed to divulge this, but I'm gonna give you a little bit. Back in 2012, I signed a cooperative agreement with the U.S. military for my humate.
I know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I told you. And they said, we want to know everything you know about this product.
I bet they do.
And we'll give it to our scientists, and we'll give it to our laboratories, and we'll see if we could come up with a product and that will change, that will be a game changer for the world. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And so I did, and this is like, 2016, so it's been 4 years, and in 4 years now we've we've come up with a product. And I'm not going to talk about it until they tell me we can talk about it, and then we'll talk about it because they're going to come on the show. And this is going to be a game changer, man. This is going to be a major league game changer. So all you billionaires out there, and if you own a sports team and you want to make some real money, listen up, belly up, and you tell me. Because
You know
we
what?
got
Well,
it.
they can invest in our fund.
They can invest in
And
your
we
fund.
can
They can do whatever they want.
strategically
But
we
we're-
can strategically apply capital to you.
Yeah, we're going for patents. I mean, this is a big deal. This isn't a bullshit deal, okay?
talking like a
This
real
isn't-
deal right
This
now.
isn't a
That's
Hal
right.
Ritter bullshit deal. This
Yes.
is a real deal, and that's what I talk about here is real deals because that's what pays the bills here for me.
Yep. Dennis, earlier we talked about fracking. There's this new technology they call hydrofracking.
Right.
And how that is used. People don't realize that process produces a lot of moisture and condensation that produces a lot of water. People really don't understand that. And earlier we talked about gold. Water is the biggest thing. And here in the valley, that is an important commodity. And up in Navajo, that's what we're addressing is our water rights settlement.
Well, see, the Navajos own half of the Colorado River, right?
We own all of it.
Do you?
We own all of it. The big Colorado River and the small Colorado and the aquifer. We own all of it.
Really?
The bottom line is that how much are we willing to give to
Well,
the
that's
people
what
that
Peter
come
used
into
to
their
say.
family? Exactly.
When John Kyle said, "We'll give you $300 million for your water rights and call it a day,"
Oh, God.
and Peter McDonald said, "Screw you. We're not going to do that. We'll sell you some water, but we're not going to sell you our water rights."
Correct.
Right?
And then that's something that is an inheritant right ever since of time memorial, we say. Before anybody else came, we were the first people that came upon the water, and we greeted it. And actually, there's a beautiful story about this thing. We have a story of the first man and the first woman. When they went into the underworld and came upon the aquifer, there was this sheet that looks like an incredible glass mirror. And they looked at it and they asked, "What is this? What is this thing?" And there's a deity named Hashchiltie, talking God, and he pointed up to the ceilings of the cave, and there came a little object coming down, and it hit that mirror. And when it hit that mirror, it made a sound in that cave, and in the aquifer, and it went, "Twa," and that's what we call "twa," and that's where the water element
Right.
introduced itself
That's
to
the name.
our
That's
people.
the name for water.
Teach me again. Toi?
Toh.
Toh.
T-O-H. Toh.
Toi.
Twa. That's right. That's what we call water.
Twa.
And we are the child of water. We are the children of water. So that's where we made that first sacred relationship. And that's why we
so when
say,
when you hear these things, it really becomes a perfect trifecta because you hear that you have all the coal, right? And coal creates carbon, right? And we can use carbon to filter water.
correct. And that's why we have the best water up there, the best purified water in the world. That's what we sit on up there because we have these coal beds that all through these time, all these moistures and the rains that come, and it filters and it recharges the aquifers, and that's what it's doing.
Well, I really hope that you gentlemen, you'll be in town for a few days.
I think so.
I really hope that you are because I'd like to bring you for a tour. Go ahead.
Okay.
We're gonna have Harry.
No, Harry can't. Harry's tied up. He wants to do it next week,
Poor
which is
Harry.
okay.
That's fine.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
We can live without Harry.
We can drink-
live better with Harry, but we can live without him.
We can have some more scotch, wine. We're fine, but we're gonna tee it up to our next song. But before I do that, Daryl, we've talked about this Redskins issue.
Correct. Oh.
And how you feel about the name Redskins. And we're going to go into that in the second half.
Okay.
But we went out to the Redskins game. 3,000 Native Americans from all over Arizona come down here to support the Washington Redskins when they played the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Republic went out there and said, "Oh, man, look at all those protesters that hate the name Redskins." There's about 50 of them. Total bullshit. Total lie.
Were they even Indians?
No. Maybe 5%. Most of them are white college kids.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, it's just total bullshit.
Well, what's the interesting thing is that if you went through the game at the stadium, the Cardinals football fans are really strong Navajo Cardinal fans. You go among them and you start greeting them and now, hey, and they say, oh, Cardinals be oh. But when you turn around to them and say, what do you think about Redskin? Does that offend you? They say, not at all.
That's right.
What you find is those that are fluent in their language and know where they come from and they connect it with their self-identity, that doesn't offend it. But we'll get more to that, why it's
That's
like
right. So we're going to take a short break, but I just want you guys to know, and our listeners to know, that you know what the problem with these people that want to change the names of the Washington Redskins is?
You can't handle the truth.
Okay, here we go. I want to introduce you to another gentleman that's here with Daryl, Reuben Richards, accomplished artist, and he's a very good friend, and I met him several times. He's a very good artist, and I want to introduce him to you this evening. He celebrates his art at the Herd Museum, Santa Fe Indian Market. So, Ruben, please say hello to our audience and welcome to The Real Deal.
Hey, التخاصين لو تهيس آج أوكي نهاز آج دا نلتو جيشين شلينو تودجين بششين أنا كلتشين إيدا شتشي بتأني إيدا شنله وتأيد ننشله كو هيه كو إيجي شتنش don't need real deal yeah إي آج كو هيه.
Thank you. Tell us where you're showing and how our people, our guests, we have 6 million of them, how they can get a hold of you and look at your art.
Oh, shoot. You can get a hold of me almost anywhere. You can, I guess, pretty much write down my name. My name is Ruben Richards. That's Rueben Richards. And you can Google me on internet. And then you can get a hold of me on Facebook. And I do have a lot of beautiful art that I do share with the world. And I do have people that buy from me, which is like collectors from all over the world, and I can safely say now. So I have people out, pretty much in a lot of places from coast to coast, and then a lot on my reservation, which I'm grateful for. And they know what I do, what it's about, what my paintings are about. So they really appreciate that coming from my homeland. And then I have a lot of collectors from my own sisters and my brothers that collect art for me. And they live all here in the valley, and I do, appreciate a lot of those things. And then I do share what was given to me. God gifted to have given to me. So I do share that, and it's all from the heart too. So a lot of what we're talking about here, about what we're talking about, and has to do something with that. So thank you for inviting me.
Yes, sir. Shadane. Ane.
Shadane. You go. There you go.
that means in Navajo that we're relatives.
Yeah.
And tell our people, Daryl. I'm not a Navajo. I was married to a Navajo, but tell our listeners what it means to be married to a Navajo.
Well, one of the biggest things is from the beginning, these things, marriage, bringing a family together wasn't taken lightly. It was arranged. People look out and seek out who is the best quality for their daughter or their son to meet, to make a good life. And so when one family goes to another family, then what it becomes is that that arrangement means that they want to bring that blessing of what you have into that family. So once that becomes, you're a family. It doesn't matter where you come from.
That's right.
You are a part of the family. And the reason why you are given a great responsibility, there's a word we call ina. Ina means life. And life continues. That's what two human beings are brought together, is so that life will continue.
That's great. Thank you. Now, before I let you go, this is very important. And you talked about this down at the Washington Redskins game on, 2 or 3 years ago, about what the Redskins means to Navajos and the four sacred mountains, and that was just unbelievable. And I'd love you to share that with my listeners.
Well, what it is like right now I'm facing east, and I'm looking at these the valley here in downtown Scottsdale, and you see Nordstrom, and you have this beautiful apartment complex. You look a little further, you see these mesas out there, those peaks, and then you see the clouds. Pretty soon, our Father Son is going to bid us farewell. All of us children, we're his children. And before he bids us farewell, everything that protrudes above the skyline, he's going to paint it red. He's going to paint it red. And the reason why, and then it's going to become black. And then the red is a symbol that all good things in life that we enjoy here on our Mother Earth, all the good values that each and every one of us experience from our forefathers, our parents, the good teachings, is to protect that. That's what it's about.
That's right.
And being a Redskin, being a Blackhawk, being a Native, an Indian, a Navajo, a Scout, a warrior means that's what you protect, a good way of life, to experience that beautiful way of life. So tonight, this evening, you get a chance to step outside and take a look at those mountains. And the skyline, they're going to be painted red. And that's how our Father, Son is going to fit us farewell and say that I'm looking out for the most important resource people in the world. You are my children. So I'm going to put this color to protect you. And I'll greet you tomorrow morning with a new blessing, a new beginning to have the best that life has to offer to you.
Thank you. What do you think about that?
I mean, goosebumps.
No, it's great.
No, I mean, really, it's goosebumps. I'm really impressed with him.
No, it's great, and I this is so true, and this is the way I was brought up.
You know, I talk about Ina and the Mother Earth. We talk about coal, but you know what? The Mother Earth gives us that ochre, that red ochre that we paint ourselves with to defend our country. That's the red paint. And today we have code talkers. We have our servicemen out there that is defending the quality of our life and the freedom and the beautiful red, white, and blue, the old glory that flies above us. Everybody defends that. It's the greatest world that we live in right now. And we want peace, and that's what this is about. Redskin is about that.
No, I agree. And, you know, and what's really bad, Taylor, and Daryl knows this, Kyle knows it, hell, everybody knows it knows me. These political correctness people, they go around the country, and they're actually attacking a school, and I think it's in somewhere in New York or Massachusetts right now called Redskins. You got to change the name.
They did it in California.
Yeah, they did it in the whole state.
It's just
the whole state. It's disgusting.
It really is.
This political correctness is ruining our country, and that's why I'm rolling the dice with Trump. I don't give a shit what you think. I don't give a damn what who you vote for. That's your business. But I've had enough. I've had enough about this bullshit, and I'm going with Trump, and that's it. Because they can't do any worse than what we're doing now. And we're going to hell. We are going to hell in a handbasket. And if that's where you want to go, then vote for Hillary Clinton. I'll see you in hell. But I'll tell you right now, there's an opportunity for us to change this thing. And you got a guy like Donald Trump. Okay, he's a billionaire. Why in the hell, just stop and think, Kyle. Why would a billionaire go out there and take on a job to be president, which is, you know, you get all this criticism and all this bullshit.
You know what really validated it for me was he came out with a quote saying if he became president, he wouldn't want the yearly salary.
Yeah,
he wouldn't want the $400,000.
Yeah, he said,
doesn't need it.
I'll
That's
donate
a joke for him, right?
Yeah,
it's a joke. I'll donate it to the veterans.
Yeah, so you know
but
where it's not with the money. That's not where his heart is.
It's not about the money.
Let me tell you something. I've been an inheritant Democrat all my life. My parents were Democrat. This is the first time ever I'm going to probably vote Republican. We talk about the coal industry, okay? And that's what we need, our oil wells and our power plant, because our people use that to move forward, okay? They pay for all our people down here in ASU, U of A, Mesa, Glendale. They get a scholarship. It's coming from those revenues. Mm-hmm. And then the sad thing is our people are being hijacked by these people that cause chaos. And they thrive on these chaos because they can fundraise and they make money. Well, and you know what? These people, they don't really care about Navajo or any Indian tribes. They say that the environment is like this. They have no idea. They have no connection. They just use that chaos to raise money. They'll never get out there. They'll never be there. They will never connect. They'd rather be at their cocktail parties later on.
Right.
That's the facts.
Right. Well, they got Grand Canyon Trust.
Yes.
It's an environmental group to stop any economic development on the Navajo Nation. Am I right?
That's right. That's right. They're the one that want to shut down the Page power plant, the Four Corner power plant, the coal companies. the oil wells. They want to shut that down. They want to have Navajo people live in poverty. And to me, that is the most racist you can be.
That's right. They're playing
That's
the
the
race card.
bottom line.
You know, it says a lot. It says a lot to me about a people that feel that they need to keep other people down, and they don't understand that we're living in an exponential world, and we have the ability to empower everyone.
Yeah. You know, the thing about it is they say that save the river. All those people that float the river, right? You have to pay a lot of money to experience that. Not just your average person here in the United States have the opportunity to experience that. But when you go down there, you know what those river boat owners will tell you? This person died here. This person got killed here. You know what is about death? The whole canyon's about life. It's the biggest resource in Arizona, and the world need to experience that. And people need to come to Arizona to take away and self-discover themselves, who they are, and make connection with themselves, visiting the Grand Canyon.
Absolutely.
And that's what Navajo is about. And we have to protect that. And that's who we are.
Well, that's great. Kyle, do we have one more song?
We do.
Well, shit, tee it up. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are back at the Scottsdale Towers. Real deal. Ambassador. And hell yeah, we're off the reservation. We're off the reservation, right, Taylor?
Yeah, but you know what? I know I'm going to heaven.
You're going to heaven.
You know why? I have a reservation up there already made. So.
You got a reservation
all the Redskin fans and all the Blackhawk fans are going to join us up there.
And I want to thank everybody here with me tonight. My producer, Kyle Pratt.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Ambassador.
Yes, sir. And Wendy, who had to cut out early. And my lovely co-host, Maggie Yee.
Thank you for having me.
My future wife.
Yeah, that's right. She's so sweet. And we have Taylor Gold. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
It's not the real deal. Maybe tune in and invite all your friends, and let's double the 6 million listeners.
Oh, before we cut off to you, I want you to talk about Otto.
Yes, Otto So is a council delegate. You know what the beautiful thing about Otto is? He's a nightweight chanter, a medicine man. And right currently, he's the only medicine man that is serving on the Navajo Nation Council. The other day I was thinking, this might never happen again. Are we going to have another Navajo medicine man as a leader 10 years from now?
That's right.
Could this be it? It's a historical event among our people.
It is.
And to me let's not have that happen. Let's continue to teach our young ones of these traditional and cultural values.
And these necklaces that I wear are from him, Otto So. He's a medicine man. He makes my necklaces. And I want to thank you, Ruben.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
For inviting me here.
And you're welcome here anytime on The Real Deal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
we
pretty
are The Real
interesting.
Deal. Tell everybody about us. And obviously you have. People are listening. Hell, we're the number one show down here. In closing, I want to thank all our people in the armed services here and abroad protecting our great country.
Correct.
The first responders, because we are all God's children. You got to remember that. Black lives matter, blue lives matter. Bullshit.
We're the
all lives matter.
5-fingered people.
That's right. And I'm here to tell the truth and deliver the message. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to make money. I'm just here to keep it going and just tell the truth, deliver the message. So if you can, sponsor us. It's not a big deal.
That's right. And we're bringing Twin Arrows, Navajo Gaming Casino. We want to bring them on and have them be our sponsor.
They should be.
Yes. And,
they should be.
And we're talking about it. It's on the table. And I'm hoping that Navajo Gaming, if you're listening, let's make this happen. Yeah, no.
Nope. Yep.
You know, I was on the phone with their attorney earlier today from Schnell and Wilmer. He's a great guy.
You're right. Good. Thank you. And I know you're like me. Your heart's where my heart is, Taylor, and Maggie and Kyle. I mean, we're just here to try to get on down the road. But God damn it, we ain't gonna let anybody bullshit us, you know? We can't do that.
Just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. I mean, we got to tell the truth, deliver the message. Buy propane from Grace Propane, Swisher Air Conditioning. They're going to donate the air conditioner.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
It is.
For a family.
It's a $10,000 deal.
That's a big deal.
And they'll donate it, and that goes to a low-income Native American family. Humate.com, Humate, that's my company. And we can do a lot of things. Go see Dave the Garden Guy on Channel 3 on Saturdays at 8:50 a.m. www.yellowhorse.us, info@yellowhorse.us, or call 602-540-3000 if you want to be an advertiser on The Real Deal. So I guess we're at the end of the road here. And Kyle, Daryl, this is very important. Taylor, this is very important. Kyle, I want you to tell everybody on the internet, all of our listeners, all over the world, why the ambassador is here.
To kick ass and save names, ambassador.
You goddamn right. Ooh.
Thank you for listening to The Real Deal. Tune in to The Real Deal with the ambassador and special guest hosts every Wednesday at 5 p.m. and on demand 24/7 right here on Star Worldwide Networks.